Let's just jump right into it then.
Ashes of Creation, a Kickstarter MMORPG which raised millions of dollars.
Okay, let's see. Ashes of Creation has just been canceled. All developers at Intrepid have been fired, which that sucks. That really sucks. I'm very sorry for the guys at Intrepid. For everybody there. I mean, this is just really, really bad news. Limited statement in my personal capacity, not on behalf of the company. And is this the owner of the company, Steven? I'm not exactly sure. I've kept up with Ashes of Creation a little bit, but not too much. But honestly, I feel like Ashes of Creation is it's kind of like a way that you can look at the MMO genre as a whole and see kind of the in-depth issues that it has. Because I swear, guys, the MMO genre has some problems. I love it so much, but it's got some issues. It really, really does.
Combination of private investment, Kickstarter support, paid for early access, and extremely expensive in-game shop items and bundles promised players a complex, deep, and reactive world, and has shut down roughly 1 month after releasing into early access on Steam. And this news has shocked absolutely no one who has seen this story play out again and again and again.
It really has happened over and over and over again, and it's a real freaking shame, guys. It really is. I would love if a WoW and Final Fantasy XIV killer came out. I really would. I honestly thought New World was going to be that. And then Ashes of Creation as well. When New World kind of flopped, I also kind of figured that maybe Ashes would be the one, but no.
Project overpromises and raises money through hopes and dreams. People are skeptical and get called haters, then the project dies, and yet it will continue to play out again many more times in our lifetimes because the MMORPG player base are desperate, trusting, and easily convinced a bright new future lays just beyond the horizon.
We buy into an idea. We buy into potential. We don't buy into something that is real. You know, it's something that's promised to us. We buy into a promise. We buy into a dream. And that, to me, is the major issue with Kickstarter campaigns in particular. And that's why in yesterday's stream, I kind of talked about how Kickstarter MMOs are really the direction that you should go, in my own humble opinion. And it's because of things like that. It's because of the issues where it's like, oh my god, we have all of these promises that we owe to the players. And not to mention what happened with Ashes of Creation, where like they released, quote, released, and then, oh my gosh, bot, get on out of here. Get on out of here. What are you doing in here? Get the heck out of here. Ban, get the heck out of here. What are you doing? What are you doing? I swear to God, dude, it's so annoying when I see bots come in here. Like, get out of here. Come on. What's your purpose? Come on, get on out of here, bro. But yeah, I feel like we buy into hopes and dreams of what an MMO might be, rather than the realities of what it is.
And the next project will be the one, guys, for real.
Yes.
Trust me, bro. But
that's how we
why does this
feel.
Keep happening? Why do Kickstarted crowdfunded MMORPG projects keep popping up, promising something amazing, taking loads of money off you, and then dying without giving you a game? And more importantly,
why, Josh? Why does that happen, bro? Enlighten us.
Why do people keep throwing money at them, assuming this will be the one that finally delivers all its promises, as if we have no precedent for...
2 days after promising it was still worthy of your investment, the most successful Kickstarter MMO ever was canceled and its team laid off. The developers and staff acted in good faith and deserved better. Yeah. Honestly, freaking good article. I mean, I mean, you couldn't say it any better than that. The developers deserved better. They really did.
What is likely to happen? Well, I think I can explain it, at least a bit of it, and it's mostly to do with how these people that support these projects aren't actually buying a game. They're putting a down payment on a potential future community, which involves them, because no current...
So yeah, you're buying into the community, you're buying into an idea. That's absolutely true.
Community does. Hello, I'm Josh STRIFE HAYES. I make
He's so handsome. Why are you so handsome, good sir? Look at that beard, by the way. My beard, even on my Vtuber, can't compare, bro. I can't compare. I can't compare. This is a handsome man with a mug. It's a handsome man. And look at this vest sort of jean combo. This is how you rock the casual, but also are like, yo, not only will I have, like, if you're going out on a date and you're dressed like this, it's like, yo, I will not only buy your daughter flowers, I will bring her back home on time. In fact, 10 minutes early, good sir. You don't need to get the shotgun for me. I am a good guy. That's what this sort of combo is giving right now. Props to you, Josh. You're a handsome dude.
Videos about MMORPGs. I cover everything from games which released decades ago, like RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, the GOAT. I'm just kidding. 14 is kind of the GOAT, at least to me. At least to me. It is one of the greatest MMOs to me.
Or the Elder Scrolls Online, up to the most popular MMORPGs of today, like RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, and the Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh my god, it's so true. Nothing's changed. It's absolutely true. Nothing's freaking changed. Like, nothing. Nothing's changed. We still have the same games that we did before. We have the same freaking games.
Hasn't changed, it will never change. But why? Why hasn't a new upstart game broken into the cycle and taken the player base away?
Good
Where
question.
is the WoW killer everyone keeps talking about? And why do Kickstarter MMORPGs keep promising the world, collecting millions of pounds of backers' money, and then not delivering? And why
do they keep failing?
Keep doing this
Yep.
forever? To understand why this Ashes of Creation thing happened, and
Ashes of Creation Steam Early Access launch shows signs of trouble. Okay.
It will happen again. We need to look at the state of the genre as a whole, the general player base, the hardcore, terminally online people who keep saying they want a new MMORPG and why they want that, and then why it seems accepted that giving millions of pounds to a project which isn't playable is fine, but if an actual existing game asked for the same things, they'd be raked over the coals. So
yes, that is very, very true. If we are given this promise of like, hey, there's this new MMO coming out, by the way, there's going to be all these great features and all these great quality of life things, we are far more inclined to then be like, you know what, I want to give money to this, I want to support this. Meanwhile, if a game that already exists, like Final Fantasy XIV, were to ask a very similar thing for features, we would be like, that's ridiculous. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? We're already paying a monthly subscription. But the thing is that with these new MMOs, you're likely going to pay a monthly subscription anyway. It's not just going to be like microtransactions, it's likely going to, if it's a large-scale MMO, it's likely going to involve either microtransactions or a monthly to yearly subscription. It's going to involve one or the other. And in all honesty, I, like when Josh just said that previous point about how, like, people are, like, kind of skeptical of new MMOs, how they're kind of like, you know, like kind of wary of them and stuff. And like here, let me go back real quick. To this.
Or terminally online people who keep saying they want a new MMORPG
this
and
part.
Why they want that, and then why it seems accepted that giving millions of pounds to a project which isn't playable is fine, but if an
yes, I'll get back to that.
Game asked for the same things, they'd be raked over the coals. So let's look at that.
True. So from what I'm gathering from that, that is exactly how I feel personally. And it's that if a new MMO came out, I would probably not be all that interested in playing it. Because I have Final Fantasy XIV. I have an MMO that I play regularly. I'm already satisfied with what I have. I don't need to worry about a brand new spanking MMO that has all of these unique features and stuff. I don't need to worry about that. The reason why I want to see like a WoW killer or a really, really influential game come out of come out of these ashes of the MMO genre, rise up like a freaking phoenix, rise up like out of the ashes of creation, is because I want to see people who are not invested in the MMO genre yet or don't have a game yet. I want to see them flourish in their own MMO. That's what I want. Not necessarily so I can leave my MMO, but so people that haven't given MMOs a try because maybe they're too, I don't know, I could see an intimidation factor with like, okay, this MMO has existed for so long that I can't possibly catch up. I get that. I get that vibe. I get that feeling. But it's like, for me, I wouldn't change my MMO, but I still want to see a new one. You know, I still do. It doesn't stop me from desiring to see a new big game come out, you know?
As usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch.
Props to all the supporters on his Patreon. And if you want to do so yourself, definitely go and like support him on Patreon. Josh does, oh wait, by the way, he does phenomenal work. Let's just acknowledge that.
To keep this channel alive. More information on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. And let's begin with something really direct. I don't really care about Ashes of Creation. I made a video 4 years ago called Don't Believe the Hype, where I was heavily...
I think I remember that, to be honest. I think I remember this video. honestly.
Critical of the game project back then as well. I've no interest in it because I knew it was going through the same motions I've seen others go through before. I'm not saying
going
I
through
knew
growing
all
pains.
along or I told you so. I'm saying that I'm hedging my bets based on the evidence we have. And when I heard it shut down because the director, Stephen Sheriff, was removed and the board of directors were making changes he couldn't agree with, I wasn't particularly upset. I did find it odd that Stephen has repeatedly said they don't have investors they answer to, and then the board of directors, according to the incorporation documents,
that would be
was
investors.
Him. But actually, no, the company was sold a few months ago, and now they do because it was sold to private equity. And remember,
see, that's the weird thing, is that this game really pushed, as far as I'm aware, it really pushed the fact that it wasn't going to have that kind of stuff. It wasn't going to have big investors or anything. It was going to be paid for by the players for the players. That was my understanding. But then when this Steven individual who runs the company, who ran this corporation, says that, oh, well, it was a board decision that I didn't agree with. It was something where whether it was he lost control of things or they were making decisions without his knowledge or without his okay. Who knows what it entirely might have been, and who knows if he's being honest or not in, accrediting this, board as the problem. Who knows? It might have been entirely him, and he might just be accrediting some mythical board. We have no idea. We need more information. But in all honesty, I look at this and I'm like, it's just a disappointing set of circumstances. It's very, very disappointing, and it feels as if they moved their investment model over from, a model that relied on its players and its fan base over to that of a standard MMO, which would be in the hands of a few large investors, or in this case, a board. And as a result, he probably gave up a lot of power, for people to invest, and who knows what decisions they made to result in this.
The original Kickstarter had the clause, if the game doesn't release, they'll refund everyone, which sounds great. And then just over a month ago, the game released on Steam, meaning this clause is now legally covered.
That's so scummy.
Convenient that it's.
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of scummy. I mean, it's just the fact that the game came out and then it's like, okay, now you can't get a refund. I think there's actually a legal case going on soon, right? They're gonna look into legally going after the company. Which, I mean, get your money back. I mean, hopefully some people were able to get refunds through Steam and stuff, but in all honesty, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Almost like it was planned specifically to do that, but I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Look, this is a complex
That's not a coincidence. There's no way.
I don't have visibility behind the scenes for any actual sources. I'd suggest you go and watch Kira TV's video on the whole mess. He's been following this way longer.
Okay, that might be a good video to watch at some point. I love a different perspective
than I have, and has a far deeper understanding than I do. He makes videos with patience and integrity. I don't care about Ashes of Creation specifically. But what I do care about is, why do people keep giving projects like this money? Why is it a cycle?
Fair.
Why have we seen MMORPGs pop up, promise the world, take money, and then die again and again? Why do people point out the risks with these projects, the issues, the red flags, and yet the supporters rabidly defend their project, often...
It's because we want hope. It's because we want to believe in it. Genuinely. We're buying into a pipe dream. Genuinely.
Bullying or harassing people who speak out against it. Why are people so emotionally invested in something which doesn't actually exist? To understand how we've got here, and why we will be here again and again no matter what we do, I need to say something people may not like. But allow...
Totally random, but RuneScape was crazy. I mean, I still remember playing RuneScape when I was real young, and it's just weird looking back on RuneScape. I think this is just a revamped version of RuneScape. I don't think this is the brand new one. But anyway.
Allow me to explain. MMORPGs aren't good games. At least not from a game design point of view, where maximizing the fun at a moment-to-moment level is the priority. I say this.
Can we acknowledge something real quick? Just 1 second.
Someone who loves the genre and has thousands
of Josh,
of hours.
Just give me 1 second here. I gotta work on something here real quick. Dear God. Josh, buddy, listen, okay? Listen, man, listen. We have a lot to talk about, okay? I appreciate you. I want you to know that you're a handsome dude, okay? You're an awesome guy, and I appreciate you. Also, you guys are literally seeing that I have no bottom, so that's funny. Alright, anyway, let me move this back. Oh my god, wait, is it working? Okay, there we go. I'm hoping that worked on stream and didn't absolutely destroy the stream. Okay, anyway, let's go back a little bit.
design point of view where maximizing the fun at a moment-to-moment level is the priority. I say this as someone who loves the genre and has thousands of hours in multiple games. The moment-to-moment gameplay is mediocre at best in most of them, and kind of dull in some of them. Because the gameplay was never really the focus. The main selling point was this is a virtual world. You can have a Second Life in it. There's even a game literally called Second Life because it understands this.
My introduction to Second Life was literally Dwight from freaking The Office playing it, and that he created Second Life, where you could get even further detached from reality, in the words of Jim Halpert. That's insane. That's utterly insane. But I appreciate the dedication that Dwight had. That's amazing. So, yeah, you're buying into the idea of the community. You're buying into the idea of having a world, a living, breathing world that you will be able to enjoy with you and your friends, and you'll be able to make new friends and all that. You're buying into hope. You're buying into a hope for the future, a dream. That is what you are buying into. You are not buying a product. You are buying a dream, because it's not a product until it's in your hand and it's delivered in a way that is functional and in a way that is satisfactory. And I cannot express that enough. The product you get needs to deliver on its promises. Otherwise, it's empty. It's an empty thing that you bought into if it doesn't fulfill its promises and provide satisfaction to its players. Then it's just an empty promise that you bought into.
Well, tab target combat is perfectly functional with lots of people, and action combat
tab targeting's great. I'm not going to hear anything on it.
If an MMORPG released as a single-player RPG, it would likely be slated, as players would say it's way too grindy, way too many reskinned enemies or formulaic quests, dungeons or bosses. And that's
You're telling me you don't like 10 versions of the same enemy? You're telling me you don't like that? The same skeleton on 10 different enemies? You're telling me you don't like that? That's crazy.
Because one of the focuses of the MMO is having a lot of stuff. And the easiest way to make a lot of stuff is to make the player do the same stuff a lot. Repetition and grind is kind of the point. It's a genre aiming at a player base who like the grind. And what makes the grind enjoyable was always the player base itself. Now this doesn't...
So it's... Bro, what are you doing? Oh, we're reacting to Josh Strife Hayes right now. We're talking a little bit about the life and death of MMOs. A fun subject for everybody. How are you doing? Let me see. Ariane Soul. Ariane Soul. Interesting name. For real. But yeah, we're basically talking about the life and death of MMOs. But basically what Josh just said, and I think it's valid, is the fact that MMOs need to get you to invest time and energy into repetitive tasks. They need you to get all that time and all that energy, sometimes even pent up frustration at a task, and dial it in and make it so that you want to complete something possibly over and over and over again. Like in Final Fantasy XIV, as I had mentioned in yesterday's stream, you have to run a savage fight multiple times in order to get a singular piece of gear when the fights release. And you got to do that for months until you're able to run it multiple times a week. Until then, you need to run, like as we saw yesterday with the chess piece in Final Fantasy XIV, a singular chess piece. I hate doing the same quest and leveling up and level requirement things. That's completely understandable. I completely get where you're coming from, Arian. The thing is that is essential. That's essential for an MMO, and that's the reason why I think MMOs are a dying breed. I really think they are, and it's such a shame because MMOs are, to me, living, breathing worlds that are inhabited by players who have passion and who have a genuine desire to do quests over and over and over again. See, like with Final Fantasy XIV, with WoW, I can imagine with like things like Black Desert or whatever. The best MMO I ever played was Albion, bro. I think you know it. Albion. Okay. I need to let me do a little search here. 1 second. Let me see, because the name sounds a little bit familiar. Don't kill me if I don't know. Albion Online. Okay, what is this about? What is this? Albion, the fantasy sandbox MMORPG. How do you... I don't know how I don't know about Albion. You're talking to a guy who literally... Okay, here's my MMO experience, alright? I went from Club Penguin, alright, to Wizard 101, to Star Wars The Old Republic, to Final Fantasy XIV, and 14 has been my home for years. Listen. I know that I'm missing like a bunch of addiction, but here's the thing, is that MMOs for instance, I didn't think I would like many MMOs because I knew that there was time commitment. I almost stopped playing Final Fantasy XIV at level 50 because, oh my god, there's 100 plus quests till you can get to the next expansion. And I'm like, this is unreal. This is unreal. You're kidding me. I gotta do all this? And yes, you do, but that's the thing, is that if you really like a grind, then an MMO is for you. But if you can't stand grinding, if you can't stand doing a ton of things all at once, or not all at once, but if you can't stand doing stuff over and over and over again, or achieving goals over a long period of time, like for instance, as I said, it takes 6 weeks to get a singular chess piece in Final Fantasy XIV when a Savage fight releases. Either that or you get it randomly. It'll drop randomly. Otherwise, you need to wait 6 weeks when that fight releases. And then you need to wait months before you can do it multiple times a week and get multiple tokens for it. It's a grind. But that's all MMOs. That's all MMOs. And I for one love it. I for one love it. And I understand that a lot of people don't. But I think I'm interested to see what Josh gets into, though. I'm very interested, so let's see.
Always actively interacting with other people. I've made a video on why many people play MMORPGs solo. I do myself many times. But it's the presence of other people within a world which makes the world pleasant to exist within.
True. I mean, I've played MMOs, like I've played different MMOs, like even Wizard 101. Star Wars The Old Republic I played solo, like almost entirely solo. I didn't join any, like, I don't know if there are guilds or what there are in Star Wars The Old Republic at this point, but in 14 I've joined FCs and stuff, and I've been a part of different groups. So, I mean, I love the idea of having a living, breathing community, but at the same time I do get that people play it solo. I do understand that.
You can talk to other people, chill together, work together, or enjoy the human ambience created by knowing other people can see your achievements and you're progressing through and contributing to a world other people also love. You have value and connection, even if not actively explored, which means the biggest strength...
Like, if you, the option's there. Like, if you want to pursue relationships with other people and friendships with others and building a community, you can, but you don't have to. I think that that's extremely important for an MMO, is to not just appeal to the social people, but to also appeal to those who are maybe a little bit more introverted and a little bit less social. I feel like that's so critical, and honestly, I think some MMOs, they miss out on that, where they focus so much on the group elements that they neglect the fact that some people don't want to play in a group. Some people don't want to. Like in Final Fantasy XIV, you have the trust system, which literally lets you go through dungeons with NPCs. Now, I don't think it helps when it comes to building your skill. I think that you need other players to critique you, to grow, but at the same time, I do acknowledge the fact that you do need to have single-player friendly activities to do in an MMO. You need that. You need that, but you also need to always have the option of, hey, you want to break your barriers down a little bit? Then guess what? We have the option for you to join this awesome community, and you can.
Of the MMORPG genre was the community around it. Now, playing games with other people online used to be a novel thing, and MMOs really tapped into this as their central focus, their core design. Play with other people. And as
they essentially had a monopoly.
That's not novel anymore. And now the MMORPG genre is trying to compete in a mechanical way against other games like MOBAs or Battle Royales, which was never really the point. The MMORPG was never trying to be the most technically advanced game. It was trying to be a digital third space.
I'm not kidding you. For instance, if you look down here, what is this game? I'm assuming this is, or not what is the game, I'm assuming it's RuneScape. But what is this game combat-wise? It's tab targeting. It's the clicking of abilities. It's not a bunch of animations and dodges and a bunch of specific things that you need to do. Like, for instance, like combos and stuff. A lot of MMOs don't focus on combos and things like that. Most of them have set moves that you can do. For instance, we see that down here on the hotbar. We see set moves and abilities that you can do. There's not really much customization outside of maybe how your character looks, because the moves are not really going to be changed. Your combat style is going to be pretty uniform. So I agree with Josh here that literally the biggest thing that you are going to be customizing is not so much the play style, Because in MMOs, playstyle is essentially the same across the board. If you play a tank, you're going to be taking damage. You're going to want to grab aggro and hate. That is your primary goal. And you're going to want to pop defensives and cooldowns when necessary. You're a healer, you want to keep the party alive. You want to make sure that you're not gaining too much hate from the tank, so that way, you know, you don't die and then the whole party wipes. And then a DPS, damage per second, you want to ensure that the entire group doesn't wipe or die because the enemy's alive for too long. You want to kill things quicker. You want to keep things moving, keep the train going. That's what you want. But that's the thing, is that MMOs are not mechanically complex. They're not. I mean, they might have, you know, complex, like, ecosystems or different kinds of, like, markets. They might be more complex in, like, their systems, but not so much in, like, their combat or their animations or really anything that allows you to adjust the game in its entirety. The customization comes from the individual player and the community at large. In Final Fantasy XIV, and I relate a lot to Final Fantasy XIV because that's my primary MMO, a lot of things that the game has right now is, like, most of the players in the community, they're casual. But the thing about it is that we do have Savage Raids, we have Ultimate Raids, we have more difficult content, but not everybody gravitates towards that. So what do? You have to have player-made content, casual content. And that's one thing that I think 14 does really well, is that it appeals to casual players by encouraging things like role-playing, crafting, different kinds of, like, Island Sanctuary, which is essentially a farming simulator, and it allows for passively building up different things like relic weapons or relic armor, different things that allow you to grow over time and develop a sort of, you know, like, player content that, you know, you can do over time. You can do it over time. And that's not even including all the RP elements that 14 has included, where literally it's so much player-made content. There's so much of it. There's, like, get-togethers, parties, cafes, venues, all sorts of different things. Events. It's nuts. There have been full-on performances of other Final Fantasy games in a play, like a theatrical play setting in Final Fantasy XIV. That has happened. That has happened in Final Fantasy XIV. And it's astounding. It's amazing. But that's the thing, is that MMOs are not mechanically complex. I don't think they can be, to be honest. I don't really think they can, because they have to appeal to a large amount of people. But they also, they rely heavily on their community. So if they don't have a community to rely on, then the content's just going to fall through. Because the content's pretty bare bones, to be honest. You need a community there to liven things up. You need people there to make it feel alive and free, and make it feel just good to be in. That's what you need.
Social hangout with mechanics attached. I see
Yes,
MMORPGs
that's exactly
as
it.
old-fashioned chat rooms with a game attached, and it's that community that played them which people keep coming back for. You can endure a mediocre game just like a mediocre job because the people around you make it fun. In fact, whenever I ask someone why they stopped playing any specific MMORPG, it's very rarely because of a technical or mechanical reason. It's often because their mates stopped playing. The community.
Yes, that's true. That is the reason why I stopped playing, like, some games in the past, was because, and not so much MMOs, because as I said, I'm more of a solo player. But when it came to things like co-op games, I stopped playing a majority of them because my friends stopped playing. You know, I just stopped playing them. One of which was Star Wars Battlefront 2. I had friends that played that, and while yes, it does have a bunch of other players, if you don't have a social element to it where that social interaction is really, really encouraged, like in an MMO, you're going to have people who leave, and then you're going to have other people who leave as a result. It's going to gradually die. And that's the problem. It's a dying breed of game, and it's so sad to see. It really, truly is.
Dried up. The social aspect slowed down. Indeed, the MMORPG genre has had the same few games dominate it for decades, not because they are the best designed video games, but because they are the best designed communities.
Exactly.
It's a symbiotic connection. The MMORPG game creates the community, and the community supports the game.
Exactly. It is a symbiotic relationship. I believe that's the word. Don't quote me on that. I believe it is that word, wherein the game benefits because of the community and the community benefits because of the game. For instance, in Final Fantasy XIV, I'm going to relate a lot to it. I'm sorry. If you don't like Final Fantasy XIV, I apologize sincerely. I very much do. But the thing is that if you're in Final Fantasy XIV, a lot of the community is built around content in the game. For instance, the ability to have a house in 14 and be able to customize it and to be able to have RP things like emotes and have different sorts of venue options. They even have settings on homes where you can set it up to be like a cafe or something like that. You can do that. You can list your house as a venue for roleplay. And as a result, you have communities built around it. But because the community is there, it then helps the game to exist, to continue. So as a result, you have the game that has this content in it, whether it be RP, Savage Raids, Criterion Dungeons, Island Sanctuary with a little bits of Stardew Valley kind of elements, like farming elements and stuff, or crafting and gathering. You literally have so many options that are available to you of what you can do, but none of those things would matter if a community was not behind it. None of it would matter. You could put everything into an MMO. You could have the biggest MMO ever, and if there isn't a community behind it to support it, to keep it alive, then it doesn't matter what you add to an MMO. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. You quite literally will see an MMO die once the community is gone. And you know what? Once the MMO's gone, what happens to the community? It implodes because there's no game to wrap your life around, essentially. And you can't tell me that MMO players don't do that. I mean, that happens a lot with people like wrapping their whole lives around MMOs. Like, trust me, I was there. And I was there. How many hours do I have on? Hang on, let me check how many hours I have on Final Fantasy XIV. 1 second, let me check. Let me just check here real quick here. Let me see. And this is just on one account, by the way. I had an account previously. Let me see. How many hours do I have? I have 6,577 hours in this freaking game. I have so many hours. But I love it. It's a great game. And the community is also phenomenal, whether it's like an FC or a cross-world link shell, whatever you're joining to be a part of, it makes the world feel alive. But the moment the game starts falling off, people are going to start leaving. And then as a result, the communities start dying. And then the MMO starts dying. And then all of a sudden, there's just this absolute spiral of community dying, MMO dying, community dying, MMO dying. And then it's just a non-stop spiral. And it just keeps going. It can either go up or it can go down in a spiral. It's one way or the other.
Remove one, you often lose the other. Now we have to understand, the vast majority of people who engage in a thing, be that a game, a sport, a music, a hobby, anything really, they don't engage with it beyond the thing itself. They are casual fans, and that's totally okay. People may listen to a band and enjoy the music, but anything further, such as knowing all the band members' names, their earlier works, which brand of equipment they use, that kind of doesn't matter to a casual enjoyer. That's more of a hardcore fan thing. People can
True. So it's like you might enjoy the more casual elements, the more well-known elements, but you don't necessarily enjoy basically, you don't necessarily enjoy the deeper things. For instance, if you're playing Final Fantasy XIV, you might enjoy, or even WoW, for instance, you might enjoy the more casual things, like, you know, the simple exploring, the gathering of things, crafting. I don't know what exactly Warcraft has. I know in Final Fantasy XIV, you have things like crafting, you have things like gathering that take you out into the open world. You might enjoy dungeons, you might enjoy 24-man raids, you might even enjoy the normal mode raids, or even the trials, the 8-man trials. But the thing is that for people who want to dive in deeper, they need to have meat to dig into. That's what they need. They need something that they can dig into. They need something that's going to keep their attention, and they need like, for me, it's the lore. Like, that's a big thing for me, is the lore of Final Fantasy XIV, and it's deep, which is great, which is phenomenal. So I'm thinking that when it comes to like players who play the game for more in-depth features like Savage Raids or the harder content or more in-depth content, you need to keep that stuff healthy and alive. Bro, it's so sad to see the old game you have played with your in-game friends and they all stop playing the game, but you return the game and you try to play like in old times, but it doesn't give this. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Aaron, you have an excellent point, because the game doesn't hold the same weight. For instance, there's games that I long to play with friends again. Like, I do. There are games with old friends that I have lost touch with that I wish I could play with again. But you know what? They don't play anymore. They have whatever responsibilities they have or whatever reason they stopped playing. It really sucks, but it's the way the world is. People grow and they develop and they move away from certain things. Me, for instance, I love MMOs and will stick with them for years. Wizard 101 I stuck with for years. Star Wars The Old Republic I stuck with for years. Final Fantasy XIV I've been playing since 2015. Like, for real. I've been playing it for a very long time. But the thing is that through it all, you have friends that come and go. And the thing is that things don't hit the same, as you said, Arian, but it doesn't give the same fun. It doesn't have the same elements of enjoyment because you're missing out on what made it so alive and so real. It's the community. It's not just the features in the game. It's not just the material sort of aspect of the game. It's not the tangible stuff. It's the intangible. It's the community. It's the friends you make. It's the relationships you build. That's the stuff that keeps an MMO alive. And unfortunately, many games, not just MMOs, but games that have any sort of live service with multiplayer elements, tend to fall into that sort of area where they just die because their communities leave. Because for whatever reason, they stopped investing into their player base. That's a major reason as to why we see the death of things like MMOs. And it's not the reason necessarily why Ashes of Creation died, which is what this video is primarily based on. But my stream today is also based on the life and death of MMOs as in general. That is a major reason why I'm talking about this today, because I freaking love the MMO genre, okay? I love it. If that makes me like a neckbeard or whatever, I don't freaking care, okay? I love MMOs, and I want more of them to exist. Even if I don't move to a new MMO, even if I don't pick it up myself, I want it to exist for others. That's what I want. I want that MMO to... I just slammed my desk. I'm so passionate about this. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I want other MMOs to exist so more people can get invested in these amazing worlds. I want that so badly, and that's what I was hoping for with Ashes. I wasn't even really going to play Ashes of Creation. I kept up with it to some extent, but not that much. And the thing is that MMOs are such a beautiful genre of games. They make wonderful communities that open up opportunities for people to enjoy socializing. And even if you're not much of a social person, you can still invest your time and energy into something that'll make you feel happy, into achievements that you can tangibly get to, goals that you can achieve. See, that's what a lot of MMOs are missing. That's the thing. They either don't invest in their community or they don't invest into a reward structure that makes it so playing even solo is worth it. They don't. And so many of them fall by the wayside as a result. And if it's not that leads to their death, it's the fact that the MMO itself tried to take off running. They tried to hit the ground running and they fell on their face before it even picked up. That's the other thing. That's what happened with Ashes. They released into, I think, alpha. They released the game. They didn't even reach a beta point, but they released the game, and now they're not even offering refunds after they essentially imploded. And which I think is completely wrong. I think that's completely and utterly wrong, but it is the way it is. But I haven't seen something crash and burn the way Ashes has, but I have seen just so many freaking MMOs fall off. And it's such a shame because these are beautiful worlds that have the opportunity to bring people together. I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about this because this is something that matters to me because I have made such great friends in MMOs, and it kills me to know that there's MMOs out there that can hold a candle to the amazing MMOs that have been released. Like, we have these pillars in the MMO genre, like Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy XIV, and a freaking World of Warcraft. And these smaller MMOs that release, that get a ton of hype, they have the opportunity to stand up with them, to stand up with these other greats like RuneScape. They have the chance, and they don't take it. They don't take that opportunity, and it's such a shame, guys. It's such a shame. And you wish they would. You want to shake them. You just want to be like, hey, listen to me. Listen to me. Here's how you could fix your game. I am one of your players. I know what I want. And I speak for a bunch of other people, because sometimes the problems an MMO has are systematic. They just are in the game and no one's fixing them. That is oftentimes what happens, is that MMOs legitimately have systematic issues that lead to their death. It's something that's like programmed in from the start. It could be something that is wrong with the markets. It could be something that's wrong with the marketing. It could be something as simple as the chat system is not properly figured out. It could be any number of things. It could be a bunch of different bugs. It could be that the game is not balanced when it comes to class picks or anything like that. It could be any number of things systematically that lead to the death of an MMO. And it's such a shame. It really is. I forgot where Josh was talking about at this point, but we're going to jump right... I'm going to go back a little bit just to... I don't want to overshadow what he has to say, but I do want to listen here a little bit and get a little bit of his points in as well. I feel like where he's going with this is super important, at least in how it relates to MMOs as well as Ashes of Creation in particular.
They are casual fans, and that's totally okay. People may listen to a band and enjoy the music, but anything further, such as knowing all the band members' names, their earlier works, which brand of equipment they use, that kind of doesn't matter to a casual enjoyer. That's more of a hardcore fan thing. People can enjoy an actor without knowing anything about the actor's personal life, and people can enjoy a video game without engaging with the forums or subreddit or real-life meetups of that game. And this means the people who log into an MMORPG, enjoy it, and log out are the casual fans. They aren't posting on forums or watching Twitch streamers or complaining about patch notes on YouTube.
Wait, casual people aren't watching Twitch streamers, then why the heck am I here? Am I only here for hardcore people? Am I only here for hardcore people? I streamed Final Fantasy XIV yesterday. Am I only here for the hardcore people? Is that the only reason I'm here? Oh god. Dude, what life am I leading? Well, then again, I'm in Just Chatting right now, the category, because I do like ranting about things, especially things that I'm passionate about. Not so much ranting, but talking about it. I am ranting at the moment, though, to be honest. But it's true. You know, you need to appeal to both people. You need to appeal to the people who have a very deep understanding of the game and its systems, and that want more out of it, and then you also need to appeal to the casuals. You have to do both. You have to do both. Otherwise, you're not going to have a healthy mix of a player base.
YouTube videos. That's reserved for the more enfranchised hardcore. So when people tell me every MMORPG player is unhappy with the genre because they see a few people complaining online or a few people looking for a new game constantly, I have to remind people, you're only seeing people so enfranchised they actively engage beyond the thing itself. The people who are happy with whatever game they play are just playing that game. I have loads of friends who are totally happy playing RuneScape or World of Warcraft or Lord of the Rings Online.
Their flaws.
And when I ask if they would leave their game for a new MMORPG that is technically better, they say no. Not because they...
See, that's the thing. That's the thing with me. I wouldn't want to leave Final Fantasy XIV if a new MMO came forward. Like with Ashes of Creation, or even with things like New World. I played New World for like a couple days, and then I stopped and went right back to 14 because I found a home there. I found my home. I found my home MMO. That's what I found. And the thing is that, honestly, I don't need to MMO jump. That's the thing. I'm satisfied with where I'm at. And also, I would classify myself as a hardcore fan of Final Fantasy XIV, even though I don't do all the content in the world. I'm a pretty hardcore fan. I am. I'll admit, I'm a little bit of a weeb. I feel like I shouldn't say that, but to be honest, it is kind of a weeby game. I'm a bunny boy in that game. I got like big bunny ears and all that fun stuff. But hey, my bunny boy is freaking awesome, okay? I will hear no slander on my boy. But the thing is that with the MMO genre, you need to appeal to both kinds of individuals that are casual and hardcore. You need to appeal to both. And at the same time, when you hear criticism of the game, it's likely coming from people who are more invested into the game. It's likely not coming from casual players. It's more so coming from the people who invest hours and hours, possibly days or weeks into the game. That's more likely where the, criticism is coming from. And honestly, I would take that more seriously. That kind of criticism. The criticism of like, hey, I've been playing this game for hours and hours and hours. Here's the problems I found. I would trust that sooner than I would trust a player that's only been playing for 30 minutes. like a day or maybe every couple days. Like that I would trust more, like the opinions of people who have been playing for a long time, you know. And that's the thing, is that when you're complaining about a game, and I'm gonna tell you this, okay? You guys in chat, listen to me. Listen up. When you criticize a game, it does not mean you hate the game. Not all the time, okay? I'm talking about proper criticism, okay? I'm talking about criticism that is genuine and coming from a place of love. You are criticizing the game because not only is it a product that you paid for, it's because it is something you cherish. It's a product that you cherish. It's something you want to see succeed. And that's literally it. You are coming from a place of, I don't hate the game. In fact, I love it so much, I want it to get better. That's all. That's all it is. You just want to see it improve so that it brings in more players, so it gets healthier community, so that it builds upon itself. And so you have that positive spiral of community to MMO, MMO to community. And you have that upward spiral of a community growing bigger, thus the MMO can grow bigger, thus the community can grow bigger, and so on and so forth. That's what you want. That's genuinely what you want.
Think the game they play already has the best graphics or the best music or the most amazing, incredible systems, but because
a lot of MMOs don't have the best
graphics. The
honestly.
Game on a technical
it's
level,
okay,
but the community and connection to the game which matters to them. So while
True.
this video is going to look into the type of people who give money to ambitious MMORPG projects, please understand we're talking about a subset of people within a subset of players within a subset genre. So we have a genre of game which often lives or dies on its community, with the people who are happy and comfortable in whatever their community is, just enjoying being there. This means, from my experience of talking to many MMO players, the people constantly pining for a new MMO to come along and change things, the players most desperate to jump into something new, are often the players who aren't part of an established community in any
exactly.
other game. They don't feel they have a stable or solid guild or clanmates, sometimes even consistent online friends. They're often players who are trying to play MMO games without the support of also being in the community of those games, which means they have to judge the games not as a social hangout, but as a mechanical experience. And that's
so true. So as a result of not really participating in the community in any deep way, you're relying on the game to be complex enough to where it satisfies that kind of single player sort of play style, where it's like, oh my gosh, it's got like a really in-depth combat system and it's very customizable in the way that you can do things. Most MMOs, things are very, very by the book. The fun comes from the community. That's where the fun comes from, whether it's player-made kinds of things or if it's legitimately like just being a part of something bigger than yourself. Being a part of a community in an MMO. That's the beauty of it. But that's also something that is so missed out on when people come to a game, when they come to an MMO, expecting that mechanical complexity, but don't participate at all in the community. You're missing a critical element. You're missing a crucial element to your enjoyment of the MMO. You're missing something that is so crucial to enjoy this game. It's not just, oh my gosh, I'm going to enjoy this because of the complexity of everything. No, it's I'm going to enjoy it not just because of the more simplistic systems, but because the community makes it worth playing. Genuinely. Like, that's what it is. You play for the community. And so many people, as I said near the start of this stream, it breaks my heart knowing that so many people might want to jump into an MMO and can't because there's none that appeal to them yet. There's none that appeal to them yet. And there's so many MMOs that are said to come out. There's so many possible MMOs that sometimes people even buy into. And that was the case with Ashes of Creation. People really poured out their wallets and their energy and their hope into this MMO. And it failed. It failed. Basically on launch. It failed. And it's such a shame because it's empty promises and broken dreams for players, including those that really hoped for a community to become a part of. And that's what people want. At least many of them, they want a community. They want friends. They want people to spend time with. That's what they want. And that's what they're missing out on. Because MMOs constantly are saying, oh, we're going to come out and promise you the world, but deliver nothing even close.
always been a weaker aspect. The players who are constantly looking for the next big thing are often wrongly convinced it's the mechanical aspects of an MMO which will then build the community.
No.
And not the players constantly sticking together and interacting despite the mechanics not being the best. This means a new MMO won't capture players by just promising new mechanics.
Nope.
Because the happy players are content playing whatever their game is, but promising a new community to be a part of.
Yes.
That's a human need. That's a very attractive marketing angle. That's
it's a wonderful idea.
A systemic focus on highlighting all the ways these new games will have interconnected communities and how you as a player will matter.
Oh my god, that's such a big deal. That's such a big deal to people. People want to feel like they matter, and they do. And that's the crazy thing, is that people in these online communities, like every single person matters in some regard. Everyone does. Everyone has value, okay? All of us do. But the fact of the matter is that in an MMO community, you are able to shine in some sort of way. Because maybe in the real world, you don't really stand out all that much. Maybe your job doesn't offer you much satisfaction. Maybe you don't get much recognition in your day-to-day life. But in an MMO, you have an opportunity to grow your own community, to grow within an existing community. You have the chance to really make an imprint on things. And I feel like that's what a lot of people hope for, is they hope to be recognized for their ability, for their social prowess. And I say prowess because some people are better at social interactions than others. Some people are just better at talking to other people. But the thing is that this carries also over to people who may be a little bit more reserved, a little bit more quiet. Because some people, like I know for instance my wife, she very much is someone who likes to listen, but she loves to be a part of things. She loves to be a part of things, even though she doesn't contribute all the time with the talking. I do a ton of talking. That's why I stream. Okay? I stream because I talk so much and it burns me out, which is good. Like, I'm able to burn out a lot of my talkative energy. But when you join an MMO community, you have the chance to be part of something that is greater than yourself, that you can do literally from your bedroom, from your office. You can be a part of a community, a grand community. This big community, this big family, this big group of friends that you can have from across the world, and you can mean something to them. And that matters. That matters. And it's something that MMOs should capitalize on. Not on the systems, because the systems are fairly simple in MMOs. They should capitalize on the fact that people want to be together. They want to be together. They want to explore a world together, a universe. They want to get to have connections. That's what they want, and that's what they should capitalize on.
Reason whenever a new MMORPG project needs funding, it focuses on marketing phrases like player-driven, player-created, skill-based, your story, guild, clans, build your own city, game reacts to your actions, living, breathing world, non-repeatable quests, your choices matter. It's because those designs put the individual into a position of power within the game world, and being in a position of power is a strong desire for someone who wants to be important in an MMO, but doesn't feel that in any of the current ones. But
to be honest, I mean, I've never really played MMOs to be important. I mean, when it comes, and this is a personal thing, but when it comes to MMOs, I've always preferred kind of being like a middleman, kind of like middle of the road kind of person. I don't care to be the leader of things, but I also don't care to be like completely in the background where no one acknowledges me. You know, I want to be the person that when I log on to a game and I say hi to everybody, you know, a bunch of people are able to say hi back because they recognize me, they know who I am. But at the same time, I don't want to be a leader. I have no desire to whatsoever. And it's not because I don't feel like I can. I mean, I've led FCs and stuff in 14 before, in Final Fantasy 14 in particular. And I've led raids and stuff like that. Like, I've helped lead Delubrum Regine raids way back, like maybe like 3 years ago or something like that. I helped people with that kind of stuff. But honestly, the thing that kept me coming back is that acknowledgement, that hello, that, hey man, it's so good to see you. That kind of stuff is what kept me coming back. That's the kind of stuff that made it feel like home, genuinely. That's the kind of stuff that makes it feel like home currently. It's not leading, it's not making a name for myself, it's the fact that people know my name at all. That's what matters to me when it comes to an MMO, when it comes to, honestly, day-to-day life. I'm just glad people know I exist. Honestly, I don't want to be a leader. That's a lot of responsibility. I just want to relax and enjoy my time with other people. That's what I want. And I feel like being a leader, it takes a lot of you put so much responsibility on yourself and worry on yourself that then you can't really enjoy things as your authentic self. You need to focus on being a leader. And I've never been a fan of that, honestly. But I understand where Josh is coming from in him saying that, you know, people want to kind of hit the ground running and be one of the first people to get in on things. You know, they want to be important. And I'm like, for me, it doesn't really click. But I get that others feel that way.
Then a new game gets announced, a brand new MMORPG, which will change things. It will be amazing, incredible, have systems that revolutionize the
always
genre,
promise
change
that.
gaming forever. It will be everything you want it to be.
I hate it.
A stable
This is such empty
community
promises.
in one of the existing games get very excited, because to them, this isn't just a new game. It's a brand new chance at being involved in a community, one which doesn't yet exist and so hasn't had a hierarchy set. When a Kickstarter asks for this brand new virtual world that will be everything you imagine, many people who support them aren't buying a product, they're buying a dream. Placing a down payment.
That's what I kept saying. That's what I kept saying. You're buying into a promise. You're buying into more or less a pipe dream. You're buying into something that may never exist. To be honest, it just might not exist. And that's the thing, is you're buying into that with hope. The game, the world that they are promising you is promising you some form of hope. A hope that you'll be important. A hope that the game world will be fulfilling, that the story will be fulfilling, that it will soak up a good amount of your time and keep you preoccupied in a world that, frankly, in our day-to-day life can be very, very stressful. Let's just be real. Our day-to-day life can be very, very stressful. A lot. But games can give you an escape from that. They can make it so you don't feel that way all that often, so that you have a means of being able to just relax with your friends. But I understand as well, some people really want to feel that sense of importance. They want to feel like, oh, I was a Kickstarter backer. I believed in this game before anyone else. Like, I get it. And at the same time, I don't see the value. I get it, but I don't get it. I don't see the value in being the first. I just don't, to be honest.
On a future friendship group, investing in a social connection they don't have, or haven't found in any current game. This is why announced games have such outlandish and incredible sounding design, 1,000-player battles, unique player housing systems, reactive worlds, player-driven economies on a micro level.
They promise you the world. A lot of MMOs promise you the freaking world. That's just what they do, guys.
Which changes based on your decisions, skill-based everything. These mechanical features are indeed something the MMORPG genre doesn't usually go for, because of the technical limitations, or the mechanical quality was never really the focus of the genre. These claims of amazing things are for marketing, to grab headlines, and importantly,
They, quite literally, the reason why they say all these buzzwords when it comes to MMOs is because they want your money. At the end of the day, it's a business, okay? At the end of the day, it's a business that is promising you things. That, at the end of the day, is what this is. It's a business. They want your money. That's just the truth. And it's not, I don't think it's cold to say that, but it's honest. It's honest to say that, you know, to just acknowledge the fact that, hey, this is a business. We want your money. We'll provide you with a product that will be worth your money. But at the end of the day, we want your money. And we are going to say all these buzzwords, all these big hitter kind of features, so that way you give us your money. So you can't really get past that. You can't really think that the developers are doing all of this for you. They're doing it because, you know, it's their job. It's their job, guys. Really.
Give the investors and the evangelical supporters something to preach to the non-believers about what the game will have once the game is actually made. Because saying, I'm investing in this because I want to feel part of a community and haven't found one I gel with and feel this may create one I can be involved with from the start, thus grandfathering myself into the social fabric of society within the game and being important, doesn't flow as much as the game is going to be sick because it has cool features your game doesn't have. It not only...
It sells. It sells. Like, realistically, that's what it is that it sells. That's the biggest thing about it. It sells, and it makes it so the game is more appealing. Like, hey, this game has got all these features. It's got all these great ideas. And guess what? You can build a community. You can build up this world. I know that with Ashes of Creation, they were talking about like a living, breathing world where you could build it all up as a community, as a whole community. And it fell through. It was a bunch of empty promises. And it's a shame that so many MMOs fall down the rabbit hole of being empty promises. It's such a shame because I feel like we put our hope into it. Because people who don't have that home, who don't have that MMO, and trust me, I might seem dramatic here. I just hit my microphone. Trust me, I might seem a little bit dramatic here. Like, and trust me, I get it. But at the same time, if you are someone who might be, I'm just speaking to you, okay? I'm going to speak with you. I'm going to level with you. If you're someone who feels socially isolated, if you're someone who maybe feels a little bit awkward around people in real life, if you're someone who desires community so much, but you are having a hard time finding it in the real world, am I immediately going to default and say, hey, you should get into an MMO? That's not my immediate response. I would still say strive to find that real connection in the real world. And you know what? I'm going to take it back. Real world connection, not a real connection, because you can absolutely have real friendships, real meaningful connections with people in an MMO setting. You can. And I would absolutely be doing a disservice to the entirety of the MMO genre if I was to say that you can't have that at all. I'd be doing a disservice to it. That's just the honest truth. Like, genuinely.
Only creates the us versus them mentality, but then actively supports it. This is why communities instantly spring up around unreleased games or projects, with people suddenly interacting, meeting other supporters, chatting via the Kickstarter comments, Discord groups which are formed, forums, YouTubers start to cover the information, communities begin to form around the game even though it doesn't exist.
Literally, it's not even a game yet. It's like it's in development, but it already has people following it, already has fans, already has a community. You've already built up one of the major building blocks. And I feel like those building blocks are neglected. The major building block of, hey, you have a community. You have a great start if you already have a community. But I feel like those people are neglected when it comes to the MMO genre by many new up-and-coming MMOs. They see a community build, and then you know what? They abandon it. They leave it behind. And it's such a shame because you have so many people that are passionate about it before it even releases, guys.
And anyone who is critical of the game often gets attacked by that community, because to the community that is forming, that game isn't just a game. It's the start of a new symbiotic relationship between game and community, community and game, and critiquing any part of that.
Didn't I just say that? Haven't I been saying that this whole time? I even said symbiotic earlier. Didn't I just say that it is a relationship between the game and the player base, where the community grows and the MMO grows? And because the MMO is growing, the community grows. And because the community is growing, the MMO grows. And it's back and forth. It's a spiral up or it's spiral down. It's one or the other. You can't have it both ways. You realistically just can't have it both ways. And I feel like a lot of MMOs will neglect their community for whatever reason, whatever it might be, to please investors, to make a quick buck, or because they don't have the passion for creating the MMO and creating new content for it. Whatever the thing is, they neglect their community. The community feels neglected, and they leave. They leave. And you know what? They're justified in it. They're completely justified in leaving your game because you neglected them.
That process is attacking the process, preventing it from happening. And the process has to happen to form those connections, to maintain them, for them to be important at all. Because the game needs to exist for their community, their social group to exist. And if they have so much time to dedicate to this new one that doesn't even exist yet, it's often because they haven't found stability in another. The groups of players which form around a new game project and then become friends, and indeed real friends, often know on some level that the project is the glue holding the community together. And
it's so true. It's like, you see that with the Ashes of Creation, like, community right now. And I mean, you see that right now, but I'm going to relate it to 14 because that's what I'm familiar with. If 14 were to vanish as a game, Like if they were to close down service, or even if they were to start neglecting the fan base, which a lot of people feel 14 neglects his fan base already, but if you were to start to see a heavy decline in 14 to the point that they even stopped servicing the game altogether, do you know what's going to happen? The community's it's going to wither and die. It's going to wither and die, and then the MMO will have no reason to exist because its community is gone. At some point, to me, the failure of an MMO, to me, is never on the player base. In my own humble opinion, it is never on the player base why an MMO fails. It is on the developers and on the creators of the game as to why it fails. Whether it was mismanagement or it was neglect of the player base. Because if you have a player base, if you have a community already, then you have no reason for your MMO to fail outside of mismanagement and neglect. You have no reason your MMO should fail. None. Genuinely. Especially with things like Ashes of Creation, where you already had such a passionate player base. You already had it. You had gold. You had gold in front of you, and you neglected it. You let it go. And what a shame that is.
Project fails, the friendships will fail and fall away
Exactly.
too. Think about how many times you've had work friends, then when you leave a job, you never see them again. It's the same
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's the thing that keeps you together.
principle, but with a game. Connection has value, and the people who support these projects do make connections and do value them even though the game doesn't exist. And you're not wrong for valuing them. They are important things. So why does this affect the MMORPG genre and player base so much? Disproportionately so. Why are MMORPG projects seeking millions in funding often more successful than, say, a smaller single-player game seeking far less? Well, if you want me to be candid and direct, it's because the MMORPG genre often encourages unhealthy play behaviors built around spending vast amounts of time inside it, and then rewards those who have strong community connections within the games, and thus access to stable and capable teammates to complete the harder content.
It doesn't leave a lot of room for single-player experiences or people who don't have a community built around them. Many MMOs rely so heavily on you being social that you can't really complete a single-player experience. And the thing is that it's an MMO. It's built around community. It's built around it. But at the same time, MMOs do focus on, and that's what Arian in chat was saying earlier, it's the fact that literally you need to keep someone in the game. Like, that's the point of an MMO, because so many of them rely on, monthly to yearly subscriptions. How do you keep a subscription going? Because you're providing a service, a continuous service. So if your MMO runs out of things to do, the player has nothing to do, well, then they're going to cancel their subscription. And again, the spiral will start. The money will dry up, the MMO will be neglected, the player base will be neglected, the players will leave. It's that whole death spiral. And it happens. It does happen. And it's a shame when it does, because you have a community that's ready and willing to be a part of this world, and you neglect them for whatever reason you decide to, and it's a genuine shame. It truly is. That's all I can say, is just that it's a genuine shame that this occurs when players are ready and willing to pick up an MMO. But at the same time, I do acknowledge the fact that MMOs take a lot of energy and effort. They take a lot of time. And as a result, not everybody in today's busy as heck world has all that time and energy. Not everybody does. Just genuinely, not everyone does.
It leads to a group of people who spend so long online they lose or damage real-life social connections.
True.
So when those players either burn out of a game, get kicked out of their community, or leave for any other reason, you've got a subset of hardcore gamers who often place online gaming above real-life socializing, who want to spend hours and hours a day inside a virtual world, who are desperate for a new community to be a part of,
unhealthy.
and want to be important.
See, that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy. You don't want to replace real-world connection with online connection. You don't. Because at the end of the day, a hug emote is not going to hit the same as a real hug. In my own humble opinion, it's just not. But a lot of MMOs rely on people to be in an unhealthy, almost parasitic relationship where the MMO, it drains the life out of you. Essentially, it feels that way at times. Some MMOs feel very, very predatory in their practices. Just some of them do.
Important within that community, but they've already gone through the games that exist and haven't found what they're looking for. Often not because they haven't found a game they like, but because they're looking to be part of something beyond a game, part of a social group. And those isolated or displaced players are willing to throw money at the potential of connection within a world which doesn't exist.
It plays off of our need for connection so badly. It feels like such a shame that we legitimately crave connection so much, and MMOs play off of that. And to a degree, I understand why they play off of it. MMOs need to survive, but at the same time, some of them rely so heavily on unhealthy, addictive personality traits. They rely on dangling a carrot in front of your face. It's like that's what they rely on, is putting a reward in front of your face and being like, hey, spend more time in our MMO and you'll get what you want. Spend more time in it. That's why making sure that you spend time in the real world is important. Make sure you're taking bathroom breaks. Make sure you're taking water breaks. Make sure that you're spending time with your family, with your spouse, with your kids, with your parents, with siblings, with friends in real life. Make sure you're prioritizing that stuff. Come out of the fictional, out of the digital, and come into the real world. Genuinely. That's one of the reasons why I don't stream all the time. Even though I really, really enjoy streaming, my real life takes priority. It does. And I tell you what, I'm going to be honest with you. There was a time where with Final Fantasy XIV in particular, I told you guys before, I have like 6,500 hours in that game. And I was playing that game till, I kid you not, like 2 a.m. on some days. I played that game once till, I think, 5 a.m. And I had to work the next morning. And you know what? That's neglecting real life for the sake of the digital. And that's never a good thing. Ever. Don't neglect your real life for what an MMO is promising. Especially if the MMO hasn't even been released yet. Don't go giving over, even monetarily, to an MMO that hasn't even come out yet. It hasn't fulfilled any promises, it's just made them. Don't go sacrificing real life for the sake of the digital. Just don't.
A world where they are who they want to be, because it happens in the future, where they could be anything. Marketing people in the audience will know you don't sell a product, you sell a lifestyle. As a product, an MMORPG.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. Okay, I appreciate that.
Game is a fading genre populated by an aging player base, but has a lifestyle. It's still a gaming connection that people want. And selling tickets to the next big thing, grand opening gala is far more impressive and prestigious than waiting for the thing to open and then selling normal tickets.
But that's the thing, is that people are looking for prestige and sort of importance, again, in an MMO. Why? Like, what's the point of that? That I don't understand. Being a part of being a part of a community, that I understand. That I completely understand. But why are you looking for fame and glory in an MMO? Or even, like, recognition beyond that of just friend group? Like, why are you going after this fame and fortune so much that you're neglecting your real life? Why are you putting so much value on it? Like, that is something I genuinely would want to hear from somebody about, is that if they're dedicating a ton of time to gaining prowess in a game, or even if they wanted to be one of the first people to get in on it, and they were like, oh my gosh, I invested so much money because I believed in this game before anyone else did, I'm such a big deal. Why do you care? Why? Why does that matter? Just a genuine question. A genuine question. Not that I'm trying to go after anybody, but that's a genuine question for people.
People want to be at the premiere because they get seen being at the premiere, and
exactly.
Like, why? Community, which will
why does that matter?
Form around the thing. Consider this: when a Kickstarter MMORPG, a project or game which does not exist and is not playable, gives people the opportunity to pay hundreds or even thousands of pounds to support it, people do, and people then defend doing so. Maybe they believe in the project. But more often, I've found it's because those people are buying the future fantasy of social involvement and a community they fit in. They are buying...
They are buying an opportunity and a dream and hope. That is what they are buying. They're not buying necessarily a product. Oh my god, it's like Josh just said a moment ago. You're buying a lifestyle. You're buying a lifestyle. You're not necessarily buying the product when you're pre-ordering or you're giving money over to something before it even begins. In this scenario, you're paying for the opportunity to be early on in things, to be able to present yourself as someone who believed in the product before anyone else. You're presenting yourself as the first. Hey, I was here at step one. Like, I was here and I believed in this game. I knew that it was gonna pick up, and all of y'all out there, you guys need to acknowledge that I was here before you. Like, it's just such a weird mentality. It's so, like, I don't get it. Maybe I'm just out of the loop. I don't know. It doesn't hit for me. It really doesn't.
The potential of a dream. Now imagine if an existing MMORPG offered shop options of future things for hundreds or thousands of pounds, or things which may one day exist. The communities would hate that. They'd call it greedy, a scam. They'd say, why are you asking for money for a product which doesn't exist within a game which does? And then consider the absurdity.
That is true. Like, why would we pay for that? I mean, admittedly, that would be weird if Final Fantasy XIV asked for money like that. Like, if they were like, hey, this product is coming out in our game that is already built. Can you give us money before it exists? No one would do that. No one. I kid you not. Not a single person would do that. But we get these promises of like, oh my gosh, you know, like this you'll get like all of these minions, or you'll get like these mounts. The game doesn't even exist yet. There's no legs for it to stand on outside of maybe videos, podcasts, things where promises are made. That's all they've got is promises. And you know what? They have a lot of promises to fulfill. They got a lot of promises to fulfill. The more they speak, the more they have to live up to.
Why are people more comfortable giving millions of pounds to a project which may possibly exist than giving the same amount of money to a project which actively currently does exist? It's because they aren't buying access to the game. They are buying the dream. And a dream is always perfect. Again, understand that an MMORPG player who is just happy and content with their current game and their current community is not giving hundreds or thousands of pounds to a project promising a new one. The people...
That's just the saddest part, man. And that's why I got kind of melancholy when why I got kind of sad, and I said I hate that. Because I'm not going to go to Ashes of Creation. I'm not going to, especially now because the game's pretty much dead. I wasn't going to go because I have a community. I have my friends. I have people that I care about in the game that I play. But for the people that don't have that, Ashes of Creation is promising them the world. They're like, yeah, this is an in-game community where you can, from the comfort of your home, introduce yourself to so many people. You can be the hero of this story. You can build this world together. And they promise that, and they don't deliver. And as a result, these people that have all of these hopes, all of these dreams, the game falls short of it. You promised the world and you delivered nothing. And that to me is so shameful. It's so shameful. And it's I would borderline call it disgusting. It's wrong to promise people this stuff and then not deliver on it, especially when they're monetarily supporting you. They're giving you money on these promises. And you know what? I mean, Kickstarter literally has that thing where it's like, hey, this might fall through and you might not get your money back. You go into it knowing that this could fall through. But even still, as I said, when it comes to the failure of an MMO in particular, I look at it as the developer's issue, the creator of the game. It's not a community problem. It's not the fact that the game doesn't have enough support. It's the fact that the developers either shot for the moon and couldn't achieve it, or they neglected the player base. Empty promises, or they neglected the player base. One or the other. They neglected their fans, or they couldn't fulfill their promises. And that's the thing that, kind of boils my blood a little bit. It's just the fact that there's people out there that want these communities, that want these connections, and they're promised them, and then it's not fulfilled. That's the thing that gets to me, guys. Like, it really does.
often supporting these projects at the highest price points, are desperate for a community to belong in. And these projects know that.
They promise it.
A product which already exists means facing its flaws and facing the daunting task of ingratiating yourself into a community which already exists, climbing a social hierarchy which already exists, and accepting you may not be an important person straight away. You may fade into the crowd. It means dealing with social engagement where your value comes from you and you alone, and making
you want to be able to be like, yo, I was one of the first. I was one of the first, and guess what? I built this guild. I built this group. I built this community from the ground up. Oh, you want to be a part of it? Well, we have a pecking order. You want to be some people want to be the people who want to establish things early on. Like, they're the ones who want to set up the markets. They're the ones who want to set up the social pecking order. That kind of stuff. And again, that doesn't make sense to me, but I like, for me, I have no worries about joining an MMO and then not being the leader of something, or feeling important. So long as I've got a good group of friends that I can spend time with, I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. But for people who want to be the first, who want to feel important, then they want to get in early. They want to get in early. They're like, hey, if I'm going to be a part of a community in this game that's being talked about, then I want to be important in it because it hasn't been built yet. The social pecking order doesn't exist. No one knows anybody yet. The social structure has not been developed. So as a result, I can be at the top. I can be king. I can be queen at the top of this social order because I got in early and I help establish the tone for this game. And you know what? Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me.
Making friends as an adult is hard, especially
Why would you pay money for
everyone
that?
else already has years of connection to each other. It's daunting.
It's daunting, but I mean, there's something beautiful about that. Yeah, sure, there's already, so it's kind of like when you're working like with a house, like, yeah, sure, you, like, for instance, think about it like this. You're gonna buy a home, okay? Oh my gosh. More stream bots. Gosh dang it. Get out of here. Get out of here, bot. We don't care about what you're advertising. Get on out of here. But it's legitimately, like, here's the best way that I can explain it, at least from my understanding of what Josh is saying, is the fact that it's like when you buy a home, okay? You can either buy the land, okay, and then build your home atop it, which might be a more pricey way of going about things, but then you have the pride of being able to say, this is my home. I built this. This is my home. This is my castle, and I built it from the start. That makes it more special. Okay, you had a part in its foundation. But here's the thing. Would you say to somebody who buys a already built house, would you say to them, I bet you don't feel very important because you didn't build that house? I'm sure that the person who bought the already made house feels just as satisfied. I mean, for me, I moved into a already built house. Final Fantasy XIV existed years before I joined the game. There was already a ton of communities. Some of the data centers were already huge in the fact that some of them were known for raiding and all this stuff. And you know what? I looked at that and was like, you know what? I'm just glad to be here. I'm just the sap who's glad to be here. That is genuinely the way I felt. And you know what? I feel like that was a healthier way of looking at things because I didn't need to feel important. I didn't need to feel important. I didn't need to feel like I set the standard. I set the tone. There's no reason for that. There really isn't. Again, and I've said it repeatedly, I don't understand it. I genuinely don't.
MMORPG that you've played for years, it might mean unlearning mechanical systems and learning new ones. The embarrassment of failure.
But you gotta do that with any game. You gotta learn new stuff, you know? And sure, it might be, oh my gosh, everyone's learning at the same exact time. Yeah, that's cool, but at the same time, you know what else is neat? Being taught things. And being able to take criticism from skilled players. I mean, that's also nice. I like going into things and people can help. I like that.
But when a game is brand new, everyone's suddenly in the same position. You're not
fine,
the new guy,
sure,
the outcast
yeah,
or
true.
the extra anymore. You're suddenly one of the pioneers. The
Oh, God.
founders. You're in at the ground floor.
See, that's
and if the community
just,
grows,
I don't get it.
you won't just be some guy. you'll be one of the originals.
Oh God,
That is a very attractive
it's so cringe. It just makes like my skin crawl a little bit of thinking of like people being like, you know what? Listen here, kids. I'm a vet. Okay, I was here well before you. It's like I don't get it. I don't get it.
concept for people who don't currently have a community. But a new MMO, a brand new community, that's a new start.
I swear to God, whenever Josh disappears on these videos and his voice goes straight into my ear, and I'm like, bro, why does he sound so majestic though? Like, what the heck?
Everyone wants to connect. That's a fresh chance at being a someone, a chance at belonging. And if it's still being designed, maybe a chance to suggest tweaks and changes which will make it more like a game you once loved, to reclaim a level of familiarity. This is often why some of the highest, most...
I don't understand why everybody would be, or not everybody, but why so many people would be so invested in that. I don't understand it, especially when it's, like, monetarily going to cost you. Like, when it's going to cost you money. I don't understand that. To want to be one of the first people when the product might not even deliver on its promises. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Expensive Kickstarter tiers have you designing aspects of the game. It's a way of saying, hey, not only is there a community, but you are important in it. This is another reason why so many Kickstarter MMORPGs often focus on the hardcore full loot PvP crowd, because those are often the players who, if not entrenched in a specific game long term, are so desperate to find a new community, because the games they latch onto often dwindle and die out, precisely because the design of them isn't conducive to holding a community long term. The players happy to ride the roller coaster of a theme park MMORPG, well, they're just doing that. And that's why the genre has been the same games for the past 10 years, because those are the communities which have endured, and that's why people will keep throwing money at new...
I don't know why the games that exist now are still going. Like, sometimes I wonder that when I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, I'm like, why is this game still around? Like, especially with, like, Dawn Trail's release, or sometimes even with Stormblood, I was like, what? How is this? How are we still going here? Like, it feels like the game should have died by this point. And then you have, like, really high peaks, like with Shadowbringers and Endwalker, those expansions. I mean, those were peak moments. Like, those were really big moments. But, you know, I get it. I get it to an extent. I understand what he's talking about, wanting to be the person who hits the ground running and is one of the pioneers of the game. I get it. Like, someone who, you know, stands out of the crowd and is like, yeah, I was here before everyone else, I'm a veteran. Like, I get it to some extent, but at the same time, I'm like, is that enough for you to invest money into something that doesn't even exist yet? Is that really enough? It doesn't feel like it should be. It feels like you hedging your bets on a promise. It's not wise. It's not a wise move. But I feel like a lot of people aren't thinking in a way that's wise with this. They're not thinking with their heads properly. They're just not. They're too focused on the pride aspect of it. They're too focused on the pride aspect of it. At least those who do it this way, who are like, man, I really want to get in first, so that way I can be like the person who has this. It reminds me of like the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4 releases, like where everybody was like super duper like proud of the fact that they got it. Or even with graphics cards, like GPUs for computers, like some people are like super hyped, like, yeah, I was one of the first people to get this. It's like okay, cool, good for, here's your blue ribbon. It's just that's all I get. That's all I get from it.
MMORPG projects, because those people haven't found a community they fit into yet, and the new game is promising to be just that. And that's why games almost never release, because the MMO genre is incredibly expensive, and even when they do, the community is small and often proceeds to just keep getting smaller until it can't sustain itself and the cycle begins again. And
literally the death cycle. The death spiral. It starts that way. You know, like, for whatever reason, the game starts failing, then the community starts falling apart, the game starts falling apart, the community starts disappearing, the game's features start failing. It's an endless cycle. It's an endless cycle that, as I've said, can either go up or it can go down.
Another project appears, promising another dream, and people throw money at that one too. So the next time you see an MMORPG project like this, consider if you are being sold a dream of a potential future, and then try to wake up before deciding to give it your money. I firmly believe...
I'm telling you, like, Josh is not just preaching truth, I mean, he's an oracle with the fact that he released a video, like, what, 4 years ago, talking about how Ashes of Creation, you should probably avoid putting money towards it. He literally released that video like 4 years ago, and it's so true to now. The man predicted the freaking future. But that goes to show how common of an issue this is. This is a systematic issue with the MMO genre. It's a systematic issue that, or systemic issue with the MMO genre. I'm going to kick myself for getting that word wrong so much. My God.
The MMORPG genre's greatest strength is not being the most technically advanced gaming experience, but the community within the games. Mechanically, all MMOs have glaring flaws. A brand new one won't change those. And a player desperate for a new MMORPG is often not crying out for a mechanical revolution within the game experience itself, but for a community to belong to experience the mechanics of the game with. This is why you won't see a WoW killer, no matter how mechanically advanced a new game is. Because it's never been about making a better game on a technical level.
No.
It's about displacing a community which has endured for decades.
Literally, you need to think about it that way. With all of the big MMOs, think of it that way. That they've existed for years or decades. Especially the big ones like RuneScape or Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, and Elder Scrolls Online. Those are some of the major players in the MMO genre. They've been around for decades, and the reason why they're going to continue to be around so long as they continue the upward spiral, so long as they continue providing for their players and making it so the community elements are encouraged, so long as they continue with that, the game will continue on a healthy path of growth. The moment they stop doing that is when they die. And the fact of the matter is that you need to, as a new MMO, you have two goals. You need to provide something that players of veteran MMOs will be interested in. For instance, what's an MMO that could grab my attention as a veteran of Final Fantasy XIV? What is something that an MMO could offer me that would make me be like, okay, I'm going to leave 14 and I'm going to move over to this game. I'm going to move over to this because this is more interesting to me. And the community seems great. But it can't just do that. It doesn't just appeal to that. It has to appeal to new people who don't have an MMO home. It needs to appeal to them as well. It needs to be welcoming enough for people who have never played an MMO, and it needs to be interesting enough and in a way welcoming enough for people who are veterans to other MMOs. It needs to have a almost perfect balance. Almost perfect, I would argue. It needs to, and here's the thing, is if it wasn't a perfect balance, why are so many MMOs failing? If it was genuinely, not difficult to grow an MMO community, if it's genuinely easy to create an MMO, then why are the same, 5 MMOs the only ones that people play? That a majority of the community play, that the majority of people encourage people to play. If I'm going to encourage someone to play an MMO, it's not a new one. It's one that I've had experience with for over a decade now. It would be the MMO that I know is good, that I know has quality content, and that I know has a community behind it that has lasted through the good, the bad, the slow, the fast moments with the game. That would be what I recommend to them. Not a brand new spanking MMO. I mean, I might try the new MMO, but at the end of the day, I have a home already. Until that home completely neglects me and makes me leave, I'm going to stick with that game. I'm going to stick with it. For if there's another game that shows up that takes me away from it, then great, phenomenal. Hopefully that new game doesn't die. Because that is what happens with so many MMOs. And it's such a shame. As I say, I've said 10 times, it's a shame. It's genuinely saddening to see.
Which you won't do. It's why City of Heroes was revived. It's why old school RuneScape exists. It's why EverQuest is more popular than EverQuest 2.
Exactly.
The communities of those games endured. And if you as an MMORPG player are waiting for the next big thing, maybe understand that it might not actually be a new game you're waiting for. It might just be a new community within a game that exists right now.
True.
Who would love to play that game with you and help you feel involved, connected, and wanted. Maybe in the future a new MMO will release and succeed. But until then, you don't need to give your money to people selling you a dream.
Amen. Josh, I love this man. I love this man. He's a handsome man. I appreciate this man. It is true. It's true. You shouldn't buy into a dream when there are things that could potentially fulfill the need that you have for that possibly just online interaction. If you're tired of playing games by yourself and you want that online interaction, there are games that'll do it. It's just a shame that new ones fail so often. A new MMO that is a quote WoW killer has not come out in I don't even know how long. Just hasn't. It hasn't happened. And you know what? Hot take time. I don't think it's going to happen for the next 5 years. 5-10 years maybe. I don't think there's going to be another MMO that will rival any of the big 5 for the next 5 to 10 years. I really just don't think it will. Because the people who are playing those games, WoW, Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls, I mean, he mentioned EverQuest, which I didn't even think about EverQuest, but if EverQuest's up there, then sure. But I don't see any of those communities dying to the point that the players of them are looking for a new home and that an MMO will release that is welcoming enough to new players. I really don't see it. Because you need to pull from both crowds in order to have a healthy MMO. You need people who are ready to commit their time and their energy, and you need people who just want to try it for the first time and see if they like it. You need both. And, unfortunately, many MMOs can't do it. If not most, if not all, can't do it. Any of the new ones. Because I haven't seen one that has risen to the ranks of the other huge MMOs that have been out for decades. I haven't seen it. If you guys have seen it, feel free to let me know, but I haven't seen it. I really haven't. And that's my own personal take.
And there are communities in games awake and playing right now who would love to have you.
True.
Go and find a community and have fun in a game which exists. Make those connections in the present.
Do it.
Instead of paying for a future which you may not get.
Amen.
Cheers for watching. And a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who help this channel stay alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video.
Oh yeah, make sure that if you guys can give the pound, the British currency, if you guys can give that, then feel free to go to Josh Strife Hayes' Patreon. Like genuinely, like go to it, because this man does such phenomenal work for the MMO genre. He really does. For the community as a whole, lovers of MMOs can go to Josh. Genuinely. For not just news, but commentary on old MMOs, new MMOs, things that will kind of tickle the brain a little bit and make you think. Oh man, you know what? I would love to see this out of an MMO. I would hate to see this in an MMO. He brings about great points that, I mean, I can't encourage you guys to go and subscribe to him more. You know, like his videos. When you enjoy them, like them, for real. Help him in the algorithm, even though I don't think he really needs much help. Man is reaching, what? He's reaching 1 million subs? Oh my god, we might actually do a video. Well, we'll do, not so much a video, but once he reaches 1 million, definitely gonna have to just go on stream and congratulate him, of course. I'll pass that along, because I love Josh's videos. I really do. I mean, his content is great. I love his, like, Your MMO Sucks series. I really enjoy that. I might want to go through one of those videos at some point, because I think he has one on Final Fantasy XIV, I believe. So I would love to go through that and deconstruct it and see what arguments he has, because, man, that would be fun. That would be a great time. Feel free to let me know, guys. But, yeah, oh my god. Such a great time.